The storm outside was loud, but Elias hardly noticed it. He was a human mechanic who worked late almost every night. His workshop was always full of broken machines, spare wires, old tools, and the smell of metal. But tonight felt strange. Something kept pulling his attention toward the door. The wind howled like someone was crying outside. Then, suddenly, he heard a loud thud. It sounded like something heavy had been dropped right at his doorstep. Elias wiped his hands on a dirty cloth and walked to the entrance. When he opened the door, the rain hit his face like ice. A large metal crate was lying on the ground. There were no footprints, no vehicles, no sign of who left it there. It was just sitting there in the middle of the storm, as if someone wanted him to find it. His heart beat faster. He knew crates like this were used for alien cargo shipments, not human supplies. So why was it here? He pulled the crate inside and locked the door quickly. Rainwater dripped everywhere. The crate hummed with a low-energy sound, like something inside was alive. Elias hesitated. He wasn't ready for trouble. But something deep inside told him he could not ignore this. He grabbed a tool and slowly opened the metal clamps. The crate lid clicked and lifted up. What he saw inside made him step back in shock. It was a girl. An alien girl. But she was not whole. Most of her body was missing. Only her head, upper chest, and a few wires connected to a blinking core were left. Her skin was pale silver, and her eyes large and glowing blue opened slowly when she sensed light. She stared at Elias without speaking, without moving, only blinking as if begging silently. Elias felt his throat tighten. He had repaired hundreds of machines, but never a living being in this condition. Her body looked like it had been torn apart, maybe crushed or cut away. Whoever did this to her had no mercy. She tried to move her lips, but no sound came out. Her breathing was shallow. Elias realized she did not have long to live. "Hey." "It's okay," he whispered, even though he wasn't sure she could understand. "You're safe here." Her eyes moved toward him. They were full of fear, but also trust. She seemed to believe him, even though they had never met. He checked her broken connectors. Her core was unstable. If the energy dropped too low, she would die. Elias knew regular humans could not fix alien tech. It was illegal and extremely dangerous. But leaving her to die felt worse. She looked too young, too helpless, too scared. Elias took a deep breath and lifted her carefully out of the crate. She was lighter than he expected, almost weightless. He carried her to his main repair table and laid her down gently. The table lights reflected off her silver skin, making her look even more fragile. When he placed her on the cold metal, she flinched weakly. Her remaining arm twitched as if she was trying to reach for him. "I won't hurt you," he said again. He connected her core to a power stabilizer. The machine beeped, and her chest glowed a little brighter. Her breathing improved. Her eyes softened. She blinked twice as if thanking him. But then something unexpected happened. The lights flickered. A warning alarm appeared on his workshop screens. Someone or something was scanning his building. Elias froze. It wasn't human signals. It was alien tracking technology. Either someone wanted her back, or someone wanted her dead. Elias moved closer to the table. "Who did this to you?" he whispered. She tried to speak again. This time, a faint digital sound came out. A broken voice fragment. Just one word: run. Run. Elias felt cold fear in his stomach. He looked at the door, then at her half-destroyed body. He knew she couldn't run. She couldn't even move. But she still tried to warn him. She still wanted to save him, even though she needed saving herself. Outside, the storm grew louder. Shadows moved past the workshop window. The scanner beeped again, this time stronger. Elias had seconds to choose. If he threw her outside, the aliens would take her or kill her and leave him alone. If he kept her, The aliens might break down the door and destroy everything in their path. Keeping her meant risking his own life, but when he looked at her glowing eyes, he felt something hard and certain inside himself. He couldn't let her die, not like this. Not alone. Not afraid. He grabbed his welding gloves, pulled the power cables tighter, and whispered, "Don't worry. I will rebuild you." And in that moment, the storm outside didn't scare him anymore. The aliens didn't scare him. The danger didn't scare him, only losing her did. Elias worked fast, but his hands shook as he tightened wires around the alien girl's fading core. Outside, the storm kept roaring, but now another sound mixed with the thunder, a strange mechanical hum, deep and steady, like a giant breathing machine searching for prey. Elias knew that sound. Alien trackers. He had heard stories of them from spacers who visited the town. They never searched for lost cargo. They hunted living targets. The alien girl's dim blue eyes followed the trembling lights. She understood the danger even without seeing the scanners. Her broken voice chip flickered again as she tried to warn him, but only soft static came out. Elias leaned close so she wouldn't stress herself. "Save your strength," he whispered. "Let me handle this." Her remaining hand twitched, fingers curling as if she wanted to grab him, but couldn't. Elias connected her core to a backup power cell. It buzzed loudly for a moment, then steadied. A soft pulse of light ran through her chest, weak, but alive. She took a shallow breath and blinked slowly. He exhaled in relief. But the relief didn't last. On the workshop security screen, a dot moved closer to his building. Only one, but extremely fast. Elias swallowed hard. "They found you." He turned to her. She was watching him closely, her eyes reflecting the screen's red warning icons. There was fear in them, but also something else, trust. She didn't know who he was, but she still looked at him like he was the only safe thing left in the universe. "You need a body," Elias whispered. "At least something to move with." He opened a storage cabinet and pulled out pieces of an old exosuit he once built for a mining job, light metal plates, joint modules, and artificial muscles. He placed them on the table beside her. They looked rough and mismatched, but they were strong. "I'm sorry if this will feel strange," he said. Her eyes blinked twice. Yes. Elias started with the right arm. He attached metal bones, wired them to her nerve ports, and locked them in place. When he powered it, the arm twitched violently, then slowly relaxed. She gasped silently, her chest lifting in shock from the new sensation. Elias paused, afraid he hurt her, but she blinked once. Continue. He kept going. Bit by bit, piece by piece. He attached a shoulder plate, then sensors, then stabilizers. Every time the new parts activated, she breathed a little faster, like her body was trying to remember how to exist again. While he worked, the scanner blipped again. Closer now. "Too close," Elias whispered. "Just hold on a little longer." She stared at him like she understood every word. He moved to her left side. This part was worse. The connectors were damaged and sparks shot out when he touched them. He winced, feeling heat burn through his gloves, but he didn't stop. He cleaned the ports, patched the broken wires, and replaced the missing circuits. Sweat dripped down his forehead. Suddenly, a loud bang hit the outside wall. The girl jerked in panic. Her core flashed dangerously. "Stay with me," Elias said quickly. He placed his hand gently on her glowing chest. He didn't know why, maybe to calm her, maybe to comfort her. But when he did, her pulse steadied. Her eyes stared into his softer now. "You're doing great," he whispered. The banging outside stopped. Then the scanner light disappeared. Elias frowned. Why did they leave? He checked the cameras. Nothing. The street was empty. The storm covered all sound. But he didn't trust it. Alien trackers never gave up easily. They were hiding, waiting. He turned back to the girl and lifted the last major component, a torso frame. He locked it around her core and sealed it. When he powered it on, the new frame hummed softly. A bright blue light pulsed through her body, stronger this time. Her breathing deepened. Her eyes widened. She was stable, but then something unexpected happened. The girl's voice chip flickered, cracked. Then activated. A soft digital whisper left her lips. My name, Lyra. Elias froze. Lyra? She blinked slowly. Yes. Lyra, he repeated, trying to reassure her. You're safe here. But as soon as he spoke, the scanner icon returned on the screen closer than before, brighter. Almost on top of the workshop, the door handle rattled violently. Elias grabbed a wrench and rushed to the entrance, his heart pounding. Outside, heavy footsteps echoed. The door creaked. He turned back to Lyra. Her new arm moved weak but moving. She raised her hand toward him, trying to reach. Her glowing eyes widened in desperation. No, she whispered. Hide. Elias shook his head. I'm not leaving you. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. Elias stepped in front of Lyra, raising his tool like a weapon. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a fighter. But he was the only thing standing between her and death. He would not let her be taken, not after he had brought her back from the edge of life. Not after hearing her name. The door lock. Click. Someone or something was coming in. Lyra whispered one more word, voice shaking. Run. But Elias whispered back, steady and brave. No, I protect you. And the door began to open. The door burst open with a metallic crack, and a tall, dark figure stepped inside. Elias froze, gripping his wrench tightly. His breath caught in his throat. The figure wasn't human. It had long metal limbs, glowing red eyes, and armor shaped like a hunting insect. A tracker unit, the kind of machine that hunted runaways for alien authorities. Its red eyes scanned the workshop slowly, left to right, until they stopped directly on Lyra's half-rebuilt form lying on the table. A low growl-like vibration came from inside the machine. Target located, the tracker's voice boomed. Distant and cold, Elias stepped forward, placing himself between the machine and Lyra. His hands shook, but he held the wrench high. She's not going anywhere, he said. Though fear made his voice crack, the machine tilted its head. Human, step aside. You are not authorized to interfere with alien property. Property, the word hit Elias like a punch to the chest. He heard Lyra gasp behind him, fear and humiliation mixed together. No, Elias said firmly. She's alive. She's not property. The tracker took one step forward. The ground trembled. Remove yourself or be terminated. Elias swallowed, thinking fast. He couldn't fight this thing with a wrench. He needed a distraction. He reached behind him, grabbed a loose power line, and slammed it against the metal floor. Sparks exploded everywhere. The tracker flinched, sensors overloaded for a second. Lyra! Elias shouted. Now! He sprinted to the control panel and hit the emergency shutter button. Heavy steel plates dropped down from the ceiling, cutting the tracker off inside the front room. The monster pounded on the barrier, roaring mechanical sounds that shook the workshop walls. Elias turned to Lyra, who stared at him in shock. You protect me, she whispered, voice glitching. Always, Elias said, panting, but they had seconds before the tracker broke through. He ran to the table and pulled up the frame containing her mechanical torso. We need to finish your body, now. Her eyes widened in fear. Pain, she whispered. I know, he said softly. But it will save your life. He began attaching the rest of her limbs, first the left arm, then the spinal connectors. Each connection sent a jolt through her body, making her tremble. But Lyra didn't cry out. She gripped the table with her new metal fingers, trying to stay still. Elias worked faster than he had ever worked in his life. Sweat dripped down his face. His hands shook from speed and fear. The tracker slammed again and again against the steel plate. Cracks appeared. Elias forced himself to ignore it. Focus. Save her. He attached her new legs, thin metal bones covered with flexible plates that could support her weight. When he locked in the power supply, her toes twitched, then curled. She gasped, feeling her legs for the first time. Stand, Elias urged gently. You can do it. She looked down at her new limbs. It was overwhelming, terrifying, beautiful, unknown. Afraid. She whispered. I'm here, Elias said, guiding her hand. I won't let you fall. Another explosion hit the shutters. Lyra's eyes snapped toward the sound. Fear pushed her forward. She tried to stand. Her legs shook violently. Elias held her up. Step by step, she rose higher until she was finally standing on two legs created from scrap metal. Old parts and human stubbornness. She looked down at Elias. Shock and awe filling her glowing blue eyes. Standing. She whispered. Yes, Elias said with a small smile. You are. The tracker smashed through the final layer of metal. Flames and smoke filled the front room. Lyra stepped back in fear. Elias grabbed her arm. We need to move. They rushed toward the back exit of the workshop, Lyra stumbling as she tried to control her new legs. Elias held her steady, guiding her through the darkness. Sparks rained from the ceiling as the tracker forced its way inside. Target escaping, it roared. Lyra looked terrified. Her legs wobbled. Elias held her hand firmly. You're doing great, he said. Just keep moving. They reached the back door. He kicked it open. The cold night air washed over them. Rain poured hard, soaking the metal plates on Lyra's body. She slipped, but Elias pulled her up. I've got you. Behind them, the tracker burst through the last barrier, fire in its mechanical voice. Elias dragged Lyra into the alley. The machine followed fast, unstoppable. Lyra looked at Elias, panic in her eyes. She was still weak. Not ready to fight. Not ready to run far. Elias grabbed a fuel canister and threw it at the tracker. Then he sparked his welding torch at it. Boom. The explosion lit up the alley, sending the tracker stumbling back. It wasn't destroyed, but it was slowed. Lyra! Elias shouted. We head to the old factory. She nodded weakly, gripping his jacket for support. Together, they ran through the storm, her footsteps clumsy but determined. Behind them, the tracker's red glow reappeared through the smoke. It was coming. Lyra turned to Elias, her voice soft but sure. You rebuild me, she whispered. I trust you. Elias looked at her, this girl he had known for only hours, yet felt responsible for, as if she had always been part of his life. I won't let anything happen to you, he said. And they ran into the night, hunted by a machine, and bound together by something neither of them fully understood yet. The abandoned factory loomed in the distance like a giant dead beast. Its broken windows stared at the storm, and its rusted walls groaned with every gust of wind. Elias and Lyra stumbled toward it, rain hitting their faces like needles. Lyra's new legs moved stiffly, her joints clicking with each step. Elias held her arm, keeping her upright as they crossed the muddy ground. We're almost there, Elias said, breathing hard. Lyra nodded, though her face showed fear. Every sound made her flinch. The rain, the wind, distant thunder. But the sound she feared most was behind them, the low mechanical growl of the tracker, hunting them through the storm. Elias dragged open the factory's side door. The hinges screamed, but he pulled Lyra inside and shut it behind them. The darkness swallowed them at once. The only light came from Lyra's glowing blue eyes and the faint pulse in her chest. Stay close, Elias whispered. He led her deeper into the factory, stepping over broken metal parts, fallen beams, and puddles of oil. The air smelled like dust and old machinery. Lyra's feet slipped on the wet floor, but Elias steadied her each time. Then she stopped suddenly. "I hear something," she whispered. Elias listened. At first he heard only rain hitting the roof, then faint vibrations, steady, heavy, getting closer. The tracker. They had seconds. Elias pulled her behind a pile of crates. They crouched low, breathing quietly. The factory door burst open, metal clanging against the wall. Red light swept across the floor as the tracker stepped inside, scanning the darkness. Lyra trembled. Her mechanical fingers tightened around Elias's sleeve. The tracker's booming voice echoed through the factory. "Target detected." "Life signatures, too," Elias whispered. "Don't move." But Lyra's new body was still adjusting. A small joint in her leg clicked loudly. The sound echoed like a gunshot. The tracker's head snapped toward their hiding place. Elias grabbed Lyra's hand. "We run now." He pulled her through a narrow gap between metal shelves. The tracker's beam blasted the crates behind them, sending wood shattering in all directions. Lyra stumbled, but kept running. Her legs were learning. Her movements became smoother, faster, more controlled. For the first time, she ran on her own. They reached the assembly line area. Rusty conveyor belts stretched across the room. Big robotic arms hung from the ceiling like sleeping monsters. Elias jumped onto the belt and helped Lyra climb up. The tracker marched into the room. "You cannot escape." Elias spotted a breaker box on the far wall. "Lyra, hold on to something." He threw a metal rod at the box. Sparks exploded across the ceiling. The robotic arms woke up suddenly, swinging wildly, grabbing random objects. One arm smashed into the tracker, knocking it to the side. Lyra gasped. "Machine." "Fight us?" "No," Elias said. "They're just broken and dangerous. But we can use them." The tracker recovered quickly and charged toward them. Its armor glowed red as it prepared a heavy strike. Elias grabbed Lyra again. "Jump!" They leaped off the conveyor belt as one robotic arm swung down, crashing into the tracker and trapping it for a moment. The machine roared, ripping the arm apart. Elias and Lyra ran deeper into the factory, entering a huge hall filled with old storage tanks. Their footsteps echoed as they hid behind one. Lyra slid down against the tank, exhausted. Her breathing was unsteady. Her mechanical limbs twitched randomly, overloading. "You're overheating," Elias said, kneeling beside her. He placed his hand gently on her chest where the power core pulsed rapidly. "We need to cool your systems or your heart will shut down." Lyra looked at him with wide, fearful eyes. Not ready. To die again." "You won't," Elias said firmly. "I promise." He used his jacket to wipe rainwater onto her metal plates. The cold droplets sizzled, cooling her slowly. She sighed in relief. Just then, boom. The tank beside them dented inward. The tracker had found them. Elias grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her to her feet. "You can stand now. You can do this." Lyra's legs steadied. Her eyes glowed brighter. The tracker smashed through the tank and stepped toward them. Sparks flew from its claws. "Target will be erased." Elias stepped in front of Lyra again, even though he had no shield. No weapon, nothing but determination. But Lyra grabbed his arm and moved beside him. "No," she whispered. "Not alone." Her legs locked into place. Her new arm lifted higher than before. She was learning. She was growing stronger. The tracker charged. Elias braced for impact. But a falling steel beam crashed from the ceiling, slamming into the tracker and knocking it to the ground. Dust filled the air. The factory roof was collapsing. Elias grabbed Lyra. "We have to get out." "I can run," she said confidently this time. "I try." Together, they sprinted toward the exit as the ceiling fell behind them. Lyra ran faster and smoother, her new legs adapting to every step. They burst out into the rain just as the factory exploded in a shower of dust and metal. Elias turned back, panting. Did we get rid of it? Lyra stared at the ruins, her eyes glowing with a new strength. No, she whispered. It's still coming. And far behind them, through the smoke, a pair of red lights flickered back to life. The hunt was not over. Elias and Lyra ran through the storm until their legs burned. The rain hit their faces like shards of ice, and the wind roared in their ears. Behind them, deep in the smoke-filled ruins of the factory, the tracker's red eyes flickered back to life. It was damaged, but far from destroyed. Lyra stumbled, still learning to control her new legs. Elias steadied her each time, refusing to let her fall. They reached an old drainage tunnel and ducked inside. Darkness swallowed them. Water dripped from the ceiling in slow, heavy drops. Elias caught his breath and leaned against the wall. Lyra stood beside him, trembling. Her chest core flickered with rising heat. You okay? Elias asked gently. Lyra looked down at her metal limbs. Body, strange, she whispered. Heavy, new, hard to feel. Elias nodded. We'll upgrade it later. Right now we need to stay alive. Her eyes glowed softly in the dark. Why, help me? She asked quietly. Humans fear my kind. Elias hesitated. He wasn't sure how to explain it. He didn't see a kind. He saw someone broken, scared, and alone. Someone who needed him. You were dying, he said simply. And no one deserves that. Lyra lowered her head. I was not supposed to live. That made Elias look at her sharply. What do you mean? Silence filled the tunnel. Lyra's hands shook as she tried to speak. Her voice chip glitched, then stabilized. My people destroyed my body, she whispered. Elias felt the world tilt. Your own people? Why? Lyra stepped back, leaning against the cold stone wall. She looked like her memories hurt more than her broken body ever did. I was scientist, she said slowly. I found something forbidden. Elias moved closer. What did you find? Lyra closed her eyes, her core pulsing with stress. She raised her hand, showing Elias one of the connectors he had repaired. Human technology. Connects with us. Elias frowned. With aliens? She nodded. Only humans. No other species. Your machines can rebuild our bodies, enhance us, make us more than we are. Elias was stunned. That didn't make sense. Humans were considered one of the weaker species in the galaxy. They didn't have advanced systems or powerful biology. Why would your people fear that? He asked. Lyra laughed softly, but it was a broken laugh filled with sadness. Because it means humans can change alien evolution. Elias froze. Change evolution? That was impossible. Humans fixed machines, not species. I don't understand, he whispered. Lyra pointed at her torso. My core should not connect to human metal. But when you rebuilt me, it accepted every piece, like I was meant to have it. Elias took a step back, shock spreading across his face. You mean humans can upgrade you? Yes, Lyra said. And that frightens my people. The truth settled like a heavy weight in the tunnel. Lyra continued, her voice trembling. I made a report. I said humans are special. Humans can help us live longer, heal faster, grow stronger. Her eyes filled with pain. They called me traitor. They destroyed my body, threw me away, said no one would ever find me. Elias stared at her, heart pounding. But I found you. Yes, she whispered. You. They stared at each other, both realizing how impossible and dangerous this moment truly was. Then the ground shook. Elias's head whipped toward the tunnel entrance. It's here. A red beam cut through the darkness, scanning the tunnel walls. The tracker's voice echoed. Targets located. Lyra grabbed Elias's arm. We must go. They ran deeper into the tunnel. Water splashed under their feet. Lyra's legs clicked with each step, adjusting quickly as she followed Elias. Behind them, the tracker's metal feet stomped closer, its heavy body scraping against the stone walls. Elias turned a corner sharply, pulling Lyra down another passage. But the tunnel ended in a collapsed heap of rubble. A dead-end. The tracker's red light flooded the hallway. It was coming. Elias pushed Lyra behind him again. Stay back, he said. Lyra shook her head desperately. You cannot fight. It's stronger. It's faster. I don't care. He shouted. I won't let it take you. Lyra grabbed his wrist, her new metal fingers strong. Elias, I am not worth your death. He looked at her, eyes burning. Yes, you are. The tracker appeared around the corner, rising like a metal nightmare. Targets will be terminated. Elias clenched his jaw. Stay behind me. But then something unexpected happened. Lyra stepped forward. Elias grabbed her arm. What are you doing? She looked back at him, her glowing blue eyes filled with determination. You rebuilt me, she whispered. Now, I protect you. Her power core flared bright blue, lighting the tunnel. The tracker charged. Lyra raised her new arm, and for the first time since she got her rebuilt body, she fought back. The tunnel exploded with light as Lyra stepped forward, her new body trembling from fear and power she didn't fully understand. The tracker charged at her, its claws glowing red, slicing through the air like blades. Elias shouted her name, but Lyra did not move back. She raised her metal arm, the joints humming as her power core surged brighter than ever before. When the tracker's claw struck, sparks exploded everywhere. Lyra staggered back from the impact, metal grinding, but she did not fall. Her legs locked in place, absorbing the shock. The tracker growled, shocked that she had survived a full strike. Its red eyes flared brighter. Enhanced unit detected, it announced. Threat level rising. Lyra looked at her arm. The metal plates were dented, but she felt something else like strength was spreading through her limbs, connecting to her core, making her stronger by the second. Elias rushed forward. Lyra, come back. You're not ready. She shook her head. If I run, you die. The tracker lunged again. Elias grabbed a pipe from the ground and swung it, but the tracker's tail knocked him aside easily. He crashed into the wall with a painful groan. Lyra's eyes widened. Something inside her snapped awake. Elias. She cried, her voice no longer glitching but clear and sharp. She sprinted toward him, moving faster than before. Her legs adjusted mid-run, bending and stabilizing with fluid precision. She reached Elias and pulled him behind her just as the tracker struck again. This time, her arm did not just block the blow, it pushed back. The tracker slid several feet in the water. Elias looked up in disbelief. How did you do that? Lyra didn't know. Power hummed through her chest like a heartbeat. Something was happening inside her, something she couldn't control. Her core was evolving. The tunnel vibrated as the tracker roared and slammed its claws into the ground, anchoring itself for a full power charge. We can't stay here, Elias said, dragging himself up. There has to be another path. Lyra scanned the tunnel. Her eyes flashed with blue symbols, new vision protocols activating. She pointed ahead. There is service shaft. Up there. Elias stared at her glowing eyes. You can scan now? Lyra blinked. Yes. Because you rebuilt me. She lifted him with surprising ease and guided him to a ladder welded into the wall. Elias climbed first, his ribs aching. Lyra followed, her hands digging into the metal grips with strong precision. The tracker leaped beneath them, claws slashing, barely missing Lyra's foot. But the shaft walls were too narrow for it to climb. It roared, shaking the tunnel. Lyra climbed faster. At the top, they emerged into a huge underground chamber filled with old machinery, generators, and abandoned systems. Elias collapsed onto the floor, coughing. Lyra knelt beside him, scanning his injuries. "You are hurt," she whispered. "I'll be fine," Elias said, though pain shot through his chest. "But your core, it's overheating again." Lyra looked down. Her power core pulsed wildly, brighter than before, like it wanted to burst out of her chest. "I cannot control it," she whispered fearfully. "I feel stronger, but also wrong." Elias forced himself up. "No, not wrong. This is your body adjusting. But if your core overloads, it'll kill you." Lyra touched her chest. "Why changing?" Elias looked around and spotted an old energy converter half buried under rubble. He ran to it, brushed off dust, and opened the panel. Inside were parts he recognized: rare stabilizer coils. "With the right setup," he whispered, "these could stabilize your core." He turned back to Lyra. "Come here, quickly." Lyra limped toward him, her legs twitching under the rising energy. Elias connected the coils to her core. The moment he touched the cables to her chest, she gasped and grabbed his shoulders. Blue lightning spread across her body. Her voice shook. "Elias, it hurts." "I know," he said softly, holding her steady. "But keep going. This will save you." Her core sparked violently, then exploded with light. Elias shielded his eyes. When the light faded, Lyra lay on the ground, breathing heavily. Her body looked different, smoother, stronger. The dents in her metal plates had repaired themselves. Her eyes glowed brighter, sharper. Elias stared. "You upgraded yourself." Lyra sat up slowly. "Your metal, combined with my core, it changed me." Elias stepped back, stunned. Humans were never meant to evolve alien systems, but he had triggered something that no species in the galaxy had ever seen before he could speak. A deafening boom echoed from below. The tracker blasted through the metal floor, climbing into the chamber with smoke swirling around it. Its armor was cracked, half melted, but it still stood. Enhanced target must be terminated. Lyra stepped in front of Elias, her new body glowing with blue lines spreading across her arms and legs. Elias whispered, "Lyra, what are you going to do?" She looked back at him. "With your help, I became more." Then she turned toward the tracker. "Now, I finish this." Her power core brightened, humming like a storm inside her, and she charged. The underground chamber shook as Lyra charged forward, her new form glowing with bright blue light. Elias watched in shock. Just hours ago, she had been a broken body lying in a crate. Now she moved like living lightning, every step sending ripples of power across the metal floor. The tracker roared and swung its massive claws toward her. Lyra slid under the strike with a smooth motion, her upgraded legs bending perfectly. She rose behind the machine and slammed her metal fist into its back. Sparks exploded like fireworks. The tracker staggered. This time it felt pain. "Enhanced unit detected. Danger level critical," it announced, its voice warping. Lyra didn't stop. She struck again, faster, harder, her movements sharp and controlled. Each hit cracked the machine's armor. Her blue energy lit the entire chamber, casting shadows that danced like ghosts. But the tracker fought back. It slammed its tail against the floor and launched itself upward, crashing into Lyra with a force that shook the ground. She flew back, hitting a large generator. Metal bent under the impact. "Lyra!" Elias shouted. She slowly rose again. Her new body shook, but her eyes burned with determination. "I am not weak anymore," she whispered. The tracker lunged again. Lyra raised both her arms, catching the machine's claws mid-strike. Their metal screeched together, sparks flying between them. The tracker pushed with all its power, trying to crush her, But Lyra stood firm. Her core pulsed brightly, and blue veins of energy lit up across her body. "You destroyed me once," she said, her voice echoing. "But a human gave me life again." She pushed back. The tracker slid inches across the floor, its claws grinding against the metal. "You fear humans," Lyra said, her voice growing louder. "You fear what they can create, what they can inspire." The tracker jerked its head in anger, and Lyra struck. She twisted its arms aside and brought her fist down on its head. A massive dent appeared. The machine staggered. Lyra took one more step, her body glowing like a rising star. "This is the power humans give," she whispered. She slammed her hand into the tracker's chest and ripped out its core. The machine screamed a metallic death cry and collapsed to the ground, lights fading, body twitching until it finally went still. Silence filled the chamber. Lyra stood over the fallen machine, breathing hard, her body dimming slowly as her power settled. The blue veins of energy faded back into her core. She looked strong and alive. Elias approached slowly, afraid she might fall. "Lyra, are you okay?" he asked. She turned to him, her glowing eyes softening. "Yes, because of you." He helped her sit on a broken metal beam. Her movements were steady but exhausted. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder, warm metal under his fingers. "You did it," he whispered. "No," she said gently. "We did." They sat in silence for a moment, both catching their breath as the storm outside quieted. The danger was gone, but the world was suddenly bigger and stranger than before. Elias finally spoke. "Your people? They'll come again." Lyra looked down, sadness crossing her face. "Maybe they fear what I became." She touched her chest. "They fear what you created." Elias shook his head. "I didn't create anything. I only helped you live. That is what makes humans dangerous to them," Lyra said softly. "Your kindness, your heart." He didn't know what to say. Lyra stood slowly, her new body adjusting smoothly. She looked around the chamber. "Elias, I have no home now." Elias stepped closer. "You do now." She turned to him, eyes widening. "With you?" He nodded. "If you want." Lyra hesitated only a second before she stepped closer. She placed her metal hand gently against his chest, right over his heartbeat. "You rebuilt my body," she whispered. "But you also rebuilt something inside me." Elias swallowed hard, emotion rising in his throat. "What's that?" "Hope." A small smile appeared on her lips, soft, unsure but real. Elias smiled back. He reached out and steadied her new arm. "Then let's build a life too. One piece at a time." Lyra's eyes brightened. Together. Above them, the storm began to clear. Faint light fell into the underground chamber, like a promise. Elias looked up. "We should leave before more trouble comes." Lyra nodded. She walked beside him, her metal steps now steady, graceful. At the tunnel entrance, she stopped and looked back at the fallen tracker. "That world wanted me dead," she said. Elias placed a hand around her shoulder. "Then we make a new one." Lyra leaned slightly into him, not out of weakness, but choice, and together they climbed toward the surface, toward a future no alien empire could have predicted. A human mechanic and the rebuilt alien girl he refused to abandon. 2 lives intertwined, 2 worlds changed forever. A new beginning, forged in metal, and held together by something stronger than steel.